thank you all for coming. What are you smiling about? Huh?
Me?
Yeah. Why are you smiling? Are you nervous?
No.
Okay. Are these teachers? Or are these students?
I think there's a little bit of
Are you
everything.
a student?
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you all being here, and the reason why we wanted, I have some the good news is that you're here, and it's, I think it's exciting what you're all trying to do. A couple things I would say, and I might be talking throughout the whole deal here, is that I have become convinced by the people that I've worked around, because we have really spent 6 years trying to figure out how to reform education. And what I've concluded is it's not scalable. It has to be done school by school, or I should say school district by school district, because if you take Marietta, who's here from Marietta? Okay, you're here from Marietta. I mean, you're doing all kinds of amazing things that no one else is doing, right? But it took, I guess it took a risk, probably, right?
Yes.
And you challenge the status quo, and too much of what we're doing isn't working. So you have these young people here, and it's like yesterday, I went around the room with my staff, and I said, how many of you would like to have your kids in a school district where the kids spend a chunk of their time with businesses? How many of you would like your kids to be in a place where they go out into the workplace, they spend time learning about how the workplace works, they spend time understanding what the values are, how to conduct oneself, and even learning about things they might be interested in? And every one of my staff said that would be great. But virtually none of them have their kids in the school that does that. So if you take me, for example, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. And how much, you know what I would do is, I was, odd, as you shouldn't be surprised to hear. I would go to the courthouse whenever we would have days off, or even in the summer, and I would sit in the back of the courthouse. In the back of the court, I just walk in the courtroom, and I would sit back there and I would listen to them debate, and I thought it was just fantastic. But if my school had ever said, why don't you go work in a law office 3 or 4 hours a week? We'll find one for you, and they'll tell you what it's all about. It would have opened up a whole other world for me. I would have come to understand other disciplines as well. I would have learned how important it is to know how to write. I would have learned how important, if I was around long enough, how to do mathematics, because it's all part of it, right? Arguing just sort of came naturally to me because of my mom. But, so what I'm saying is, think about if we could actually get kids in who care about video games and get them into companies that are engaged in things like that, I tell you a funny story. I was in South Carolina. Maybe you don't know, but I tried to run for president. I was in South Carolina with my daughter, Reese, at the time, and we went out to look at the harbor, because the port is really important down in South Carolina. And we were on this huge ship, we're on this huge boat, and then we could look at these cargo operations that came in. And what they would do is they'd operate these huge cranes, and they would come down and they would reach down and they would grab the cargo and lift it up and move it and load it onto another ship. Those people working there were making, like I was told, like $100,000 a year. And they said it's nothing more than a big video game. What I'm saying is giving people an opportunity to actually follow their passions. And when you're, how old are you? 17. Okay, my daughter's just turned 17. Your passions may change 10 times. But the other thing is you're going to find what turns you on, but the other thing you're going to build is resilience. Because it's likely that this young lady and her friends here are going to have somewhere between 9 and 10 jobs over the course of her lifetime. Now I have to ask, are our schools preparing our kids in a real way? Are we getting them excited about education? Are we building resilience? Are we teaching them about the workplace? I'll let you think about that. I don't need to answer that question. Now, here's a little bit of news you need to know. We have spent, in the last 6 years, for K through 12, $1.5 billion. That's a record amount on education. We have a very tough budget. Education remains a priority, but the increase in K through 12 funding will increase by 1% in our budget. We don't have any more money, okay? But we have had a consistent increase in education over the last 6 years, and we're going to have a second biennium, we call it mid-biennium review, and if we get more revenue, then, you know, education will obviously be one of our priorities. It's frankly always our top priority in the state. Now, the challenge that we have is that we have slow economic growth. Fortunately, unlike a lot of states had to go and cut their budgets over the last year. We have not had to do that. But with slow economic growth, the one thing you don't want to do is disrupt the economic growth, because now we have grown private sector jobs over the last 6 years by almost 450,000. When I came in, we had lost 350,000, and now we're up almost 450,000. So we don't want to lose that important message to the business world about the fact that Ohio is open for business. So it's a restrained budget, and it's going to have to be a restrained budget, because we don't want to create structural imbalance, because once you have that, then you find yourself in a position where businesses say, well, I can't go there, because I don't know whether the roof's going to fall in on me, so we cannot afford to do that. Higher education would be probably in about the same area. That's a whole system that really needs dramatic reform, because if they don't learn to control their costs, at some point they're going to be disintermediated. What do I mean by that? This young lady is more and more comfortable with doing everything online. Her younger sister, how old?
10.
Her 10-year-old younger sister could go to college completely online. And then there'll be all these schools that got to close. How are they going to? Who's going to go? Now, if I can go to college, answer me this. What's your name?
Dave.
Dave. Dave, if I can go to college for $10,000 a year and get a good education, or I can go to college for $60,000 a year, where do you think I'm going to go?
$10,000.
Are you? Okay, Dave. She's going with the 60. It's mom and dad's going to pay. No, I'm just kidding. But look, the purpose today of this meeting is to really hold you up for the fact that you take risks and that you're putting kids first.